Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Between the Game Sports, and we're back again. This time we went out west to California.
Mm-hmm.
We're out in LA with a young actress. She's been doing it for about 9 to 10 years now, I think.
Plus, over, yes.
Really? Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
wrong. So this is Joy Brunson, everybody. What's going on?
Hey, thank you for having me. Are we gonna like spoil this and tell them that we're blood?
We can, man. This is my first cousin.
And you're like one of my favorite cousins. I might get in trouble for saying that, but it's true.
Hey, it is what it is, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my auntie's daughter, my mom's sister. So we decided to get with it and hook it up. So let's
Yeah.
jump right into it. Excuse me. Hey. All right, first off, tell us a little bit about your background, about where you're from, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm from Houston. I also claim Miami because my dad's side is there and I grew up there as well. And I've been acting professionally for about 10 years, but for me, as far back as I can remember, this has just been a part of my life. But yeah, I'm an actor, I'm an acting coach, I'm a golfer. I have a podcast called Stream the Quarantine. So, I be busy.
Spring the quarantine.
Yes.
What's that about overall?
Well, my boyfriend and I started it because in LA, at least, we were on lockdown mid-March. And so with like nothing to do, we started a podcast reviewing movies like as actors. So we kind of break down what we think is good and bad about them. And I think it's kind of funny, maybe a little shady, but it's fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
I tried a podcast. I can't really get the dynamics of it down as far as the sound and stuff like that.
I mean, but you got it. Look at you. That's what you need.
Well, I mean, I wanted to do it just on the podcast to kind of put it out there, but
yeah,
I got to figure it out. Still got to work on some records. But anyways, what led you into acting? You said pretty much doing your whole life, I believe. So what kind of led you into that?
I don't know when I started. Like my mom has pictures of me performing when I was little, but my first memory is going to like summer camp at theaters in Houston. The 80 Players was one. I don't even know if they're still around. And I just loved being on stage, man. I felt like you could be whoever you wanted to be. You could tell these stories. And people enjoyed it, I mean, not all the time. Sometimes you get bad reviews, but for most part, like people liked it. And I've just been kind of chasing that ever since, And I don't think many people thought I was very serious about it until like college, and they're like, "Oh, you still doing this?" So, yeah.
Yeah, you've always kind of been that person to get out in front of the camera. Me, not so much. I still don't really like it, but
what?
I don't. I don't know if you remember a friend of mine. His name is Cliff. He's on here. He's real tall, real tall. He's always around. He just said that he remembered you. And he was
that was so little. Was this back in like Inwood?
I don't know. Just probably at games.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because then when we moved to Miami and came back, I feel like I lived 4 lives. But what's up? Hey, Cliff.
What's up? And Christopher Watson said, "Great interview so far."
Thanks. That's my boyfriend. Other half of Stream the Quarantine.
He said, "What's up?" All right, next question. You spoke about college. You went out to Atlanta, Spelman College. What was that experience like?
Yeah.
How was it leaving Texas and going out to there?
Yeah, I love Spelman College. I mean, it's like the gift that keeps on giving. And people always would ask me, like, why would you go to Spelman? It's all female, it's all Black. The world isn't like that. But that's exactly why I went, because for 4 years, I got to be around, ambitious, beautiful, talented, goal setting, goal getting Black women. And it was inspiring. And the coolest part about Spelman is like a lot of my Spelman sisters I'm close to now, I've met post-college. It's one of those things like you say you went to Spelman and it's an instant connection. So for me, it really is the gift that keeps on giving, and I love it. I'm proud of my HBCU, 100%.
So where is that at exactly? I know I went to your graduation. I want to say it's Atlanta. It's in the middle of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Far as I guess did y'all have very many ethnic backgrounds besides just being a black historically college?
It's pretty much black. And
Yeah.
like you said, it's in the heart of Atlanta, which I find a lot of HBCUs are like in the heart of the city, if you will, the urban part
Mm-hmm.
of the city, which was dope because we got to interact with the community that was actually there. So when I was, volunteering or I was playing golf or I was doing theater, we would be in the community, which I loved. And the community would come to campus too. So we got to show them, college life for people who may not have even considered going to school, honestly. But it was dope.
Your auntie's on here, so hey,
Hi,
so
Amy. It's a family
she's
affair right now.
she's saying hey, so yeah, my mom, she's always gonna support. She supported me
Yes.
always. She's always supported you. So I
Mm-hmm.
figured, I figured she'd be on here somewhere making a presence
Mm-hmm.
known. So
Absolutely.
right after Spelman, where did you go? Did you go straight to California, or where did you go after that?
No, actually, I stayed in Atlanta for a little bit because that's right when Atlanta was starting to boom. Um, Tyler Perry had shows kind of, but he didn't even have like his studio yet. Like it was back then. But I knew like if I stayed and if I was able to get some jobs in Atlanta, it might help me in a bigger market. And that's exactly what happened. So I booked a few shows, Army Wives, Drop Dead Diva out there. And then about 3 years after college, I came to LA.
LA, out west, never been. I've landed in
Really?
LA. I've landed there.
Oh
I flew
man.
to
I mean,
Vegas, leaving Vegas,
yeah,
landed in
yeah,
LA,
yeah,
then flew back to Houston. So
yeah.
I'm gonna get
Yeah,
out there one day.
please do.
Cliff was actually out there
Oh,
in
look at
LA
that.
too. Yeah, he couldn't wait. So um, for those that don't know, your biggest, I guess, role so far has been on this hit show called This Is Us. Um,
Yeah.
you were on there quite a bit. When you got that news that you received that role, what was that news like? How was that feeling?
I mean, it was wild because the thing about acting, I'm not sure like, how familiar everyone is with it, but you go on a lot of auditions and you
Mm-hmm.
book next to nothing. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. It's like playing the lottery almost. So when this audition came around, being that it was like the show that it is, I was like, okay, that's cute. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll audition, guys. Not that I didn't think I could do it, just because it's a huge show. And
Mm-hmm.
so the first auditions, there was 3 rounds. The first audition, they didn't even have like a scene for the character. They were using old sides from an old episode. So I mean, you were almost guessing at what you were doing. And by the end of it, when I went to my callback, there was like 10 people in the room, the director, the producers, the writers, all these people were just staring at you basically, hoping you do well. And they just kept directing me and directing me. And it got to a point, Will, where like we were doing it so much that I went to the mirror. There was a mirror in the room, and I had to like give myself a self talk. And I was like, listen, leave it all here. Like, if you don't get this part, it won't be because you didn't try everything you could. And so I did that and I left. And I mean, I felt great about it, but there was also actresses that are household names who were going out for this. So it's like, you never know. And then I got the call the next day and I don't remember. I feel like I'm sure I cried. I'm sure I screamed. I'm sure I broke down. Probably called my mom first, you know. It
uh,
was wild. It was wild.
so that show is just kind of, I guess, captivated America. I want to say across the world. I've seen it a few times. The time that you were on there,
Yeah.
just those actors and actresses that's on there, just seeing them and being around them. What did you learn?
Oh, wow. I mean, I'm still learning, you know. I think the cool thing about that show is that a lot of those actors are mature in the fact that they've been in the business for a while. And sometimes you work with people who are a little bit younger, who are your peers, and you're all figuring it out together. But I really was able to learn from people who've been like, I've been doing this for 25 years, who kind of bring you to a new level. Like when you go, you got to show up fully. You know, I can't sit across from Sterling K. Brown or Susan Kelechi Watson and like half do it, you know? And so it was good because once you conquer that fear, you get a little bit more confidence, you know? So yeah, it's great.
Exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
Well, I guess that leads into my next question. You know, your first, I want to say your first movie debut. I guess what was it? First
First
Sunday, I
Sunday,
believe. First Sunday with Ice Cube
Cat
and
Williams and
Cat
Tracy Morgan.
Williams and stuff like that. So I remember that. That was wild.
That
So
was crazy. And my mom threw
going,
that party. Remember?
yes, yes, we all watched. So going from that and then to now, how have you grown? You know, overall, just job wise, skills
Yeah.
wise, anything like that.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. I forgot about that. Shout out to my mom and my dad for always supporting. I mean, just life experience. I've grown so much, and so that can't help but, grow your acting in a way. But I think the biggest thing I've learned, honestly, is that I can do it and that I have the dedication and the perseverance that it takes because it's not easy. Actors are rejected on a daily, weekly basis. And to go from First Sunday, which was like, what was that, 2008 to now, like, it has been a journey. So I think what I've learned, I'm proud of myself for sticking in there because there's definitely times where I was like, I don't know, man. I just don't know. But then you get these kind of glimpses of hope, that keep you going.
So what about going from that? What do you do in between? I guess you can say if you're not on the set, if you're not acting, what are you doing? Got your podcast, so what are you doing between that?
Yes. Well, about almost a year and a half ago, I started teaching and acting. And I've always kind of coached one-on-one for people, but really started to get into the teaching portion of it. And now I started my own school called The Joy of Acting. And and it's been fun because it challenges you in a completely different way. I would imagine it's like going from player to coach. Like you can play, you can act, but then you have to turn around and explain what you're doing and why you're doing to someone else. And you can't help but grow in that experience. So that's the main thing I do, acting coaching. And then during this time period, I'm just like trying to stay sane, hiking, golfing. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's hard to find stuff to do. This year, I decided not to do AAU for the first time in like 9 years,
Really?
and I've been
Why is that?
struggling. Just the coronavirus been so unsure, and I didn't want to be responsible for kids when we're out on the road. Yeah. Out on the road, you never know what might happen. And so then personal health issues every now and then. So I just had to take a step back and remove myself from it. But the coaching part and then coming from playing to coaching was definitely a struggle because I expected the kids to do certain things that I knew what to do at their age.
Yeah.
And they weren't doing it. And I'm like, come on, man, like it can't be that hard. So I can understand you probably had some frustration with that.
Yes. Yeah. But do you feel like it's helped you, grow as well? Trying to work with it?
Yeah, man, I love it, man. I can't put it down. I will be back next year, and I just like seeing kids, grow and achieve their dreams, through sports, whatever it may be. Let them know that, I was one of those kids that wasn't heavily looked at, but it can be done. And so, just kind of keep grinding it out.
Yeah.
I got kids now that are 24, 25, I think.
It's wild, right?
And it's just like, man, you're making me old. And so
quickly, I just coached this woman, yesterday, and she just turned 21. And I'm just like, wow, I remember that. And she's like, she's new to the game and she's all these questions. And I try to be patient because I was the same way. I get that. I remember being there, but it is wild. I'm like, well, yeah, I guess I won't be going out for young 20s anymore.
Yeah, I'm pushing 40, man. So it's getting crazy. So
we're getting
we spoke on all that. First movie, first Sunday to This Is Us. What was your biggest shock, being on a set, a professional set, the first time that you were there?
The first Sunday time? I mean,
whatever time you want to speak about.
Oh, just in general?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess everything was kind of a shock because I didn't know it. You know what I mean? I think the coolest part, and shock in a cool way, is just like seeing how, what do they say? Like seeing how the sausage is made, like seeing how people create, you know, when you're watching television, it's done. That's the beautiful version of it. But behind the scenes, you know, we're on set sometimes 12 hours. And some people are longer, some people might be shorter. And that is to film an episode. For instance, This Is Us, because there's so many parts to that show. It takes 10 to 12 days to film one episode. And that's people working 12 hours a day. And so that can be shocking. And you have to keep up your energy, not only to perform, but because you have other people who are depending on you being at 100%. You know, you can't really turn off. So there are things like that no one really talks about. No one tells you in school that you're going to be sitting around for 12 hours. Things like that. That, I guess that was shocking in a way. Yeah.
That's kind of like training, I guess you can say. When people go out and they see the athletes that performing at a high level, and they don't really see what's going on between the games, you know, pun intended. Exactly. But you know, when the lights are on, you know, they get to see the finished product. But you know, you never know what's going on behind the scenes for us. Health, like you said, been on set 10 to 12 hours and stuff like that. So I guess that kind of goes right into my next question. Any correlations with acting in sports? We kind of just talked about it, but anything else that you see?
Yeah, I mean, besides what we talked about, the focus and the dedication that's needed, you know, I mean, as you know, my dad is a former baseball player, played minor league ball. And so more than anything, I was raised by an athlete with that kind of athletic mentality. And so our whole thing is like, if you're going to do it to the best of your ability. You know, if you're going to show up fully. And it taught me how to take risks. It taught me that, you know, things are not going to come easy, but if you keep going and you dedicate yourself, you know, good things will come. And I think that's absolutely an athlete's mindset, because, you know, when you start playing a sport, you're not going to be good at it. It's just not how it works. It takes time, and it takes you not giving up and failing at games and having a bad game and still coming back the next week and trying again. And that absolutely is what we do with acting.
Yeah. Where you said that, you know, you try out for a part and you might not get it, you still have to have that determination to come back, you know.
Self-motivation.
Self-motivation and self-discipline, stuff like that. I tell my players all the time, excuse me, that your favorite player is not perfect. Don't get mad about missing a layup. Let the coaches get mad, which we're going to do. Professional athletes have turnovers. They foul. They do stuff like that. So those guys can do it, and they get paid millions of dollars.
Right.
You can do the same thing. So don't get down on yourself. Let yourself know it's going to be okay, and then come back for the next situation.
100%.
We got some comments going. Let's see what's in. Lauren Giles said, "Are you filming the whole 12 hours? If not, what do you do on set between film?"
Right. No, we're not filming the whole 12 hours. It depends on what it is. For instance, like a Thanksgiving type of episode, where everything's supposed to happen on one day. We're basically in the same clothing for 12 hours a day, every single day, because they have to get so many different angles. So sometimes you could be there for 12 hours and not even say a word because you just need to be in the background. And other times, you are filming for huge chunks of that day. I'd probably say, you know, at most I've filmed for maybe half of that time, because you also have to do hair and makeup. You've got to do wardrobe. I mean, there's a lot of other things that happen in that day as well. But yeah.
My dad's jumped on here too.
Hey! Oh my gosh. Oh yes.
The A-OK. So, you know, everybody's jumping in. So, of course, this is based off a sports show, I guess you can say. You have a nonprofit organization called T to T. Kind of speak on the origin of that.
Yeah, I created that in 2011 because I played golf my whole life. You know, like I said, my dad played baseball. I wasn't good at softball, you know, like it wasn't my gift. And so we bonded over golf. And I was always the only Black girl at my summer camps, you know. And then I went to Spelman and played there. And that was the first time that I played with Black women, that I played against other Black people. And so when I graduated, I wanted to figure out how to share this, you know, because it opened up so many doors for me. And even before, you know, I was acting more, I always worked at country clubs. I've worked at, I think, 5 or 6 country clubs in my life now. And when people find out I play golf, it opens a whole different door of conversation, you know? So I started T to T to teach young girls of color how to play golf, as well as pair them with mentors that might help them if they need help with like college applications or stuff like that.
Yeah, your dad, my uncle, he tried to show me golf, and I still haven't got the hang of it, man.
Really?
It's a very frustrating sport,
It
game, I guess you
definitely
could
can
say.
be. Yeah.
But you know, the older I've gotten, the more I've tried to do it. So I might get back out there one day.
For sure. Just get out, you know, it's a mental thing for me now. Like it's just a way to kind of, it's a meditation almost, you know? But yes, it can be frustrating.
Very frustrating. So what are you looking for mentors? I guess you can say. What are you looking for in them as a mentor?
For the young women or for myself? Okay.
Let's go with both.
Yeah, because I believe in the power of mentorship. Like I've had some great mentors in my life that I know I wouldn't be where I am without, which is why I'm also so passionate for it. And initially, I mean, if I'm being very honest, I was just looking for women who were willing to volunteer. The goal was that they also played golf. But initially, I just wanted women who could volunteer and women who, you know, were self-starters, entrepreneurs, people who could speak to those girls who have been in those situations who don't think that maybe, and it's not necessarily about going to college, it's just knowing that you have the option if you want to share that message with young women. And for me now, same thing I said earlier, I'm looking for mentors who have like walked the path, you know, who can kind of show me so I don't have to stumble as much, hopefully, when I try to take those same steps.
Yeah, having a mentor is very important. I think that's why I'm kind of stuck in elementary school teaching wise. And you know, the school that I teach at is right across the street from Greater Zion, where I grew up at in Acres Home.
Yes.
And I just let those kids know, you know, it can be done, man. Even though you're in the middle of the hood per se, there's other options, and you can always come back. And so that's why I think that why I'm still there, just to show them that, you know, as a Black man, as a Black person, period, it can be done. You can go off to college, but you can always come back and try to make a change in your neighborhood.
Oh, that's dope. I didn't know that you were over there by Great Design. I also went to some camps in the summer there. I do recall.
It's right across the street from Rose's.
Oh yes! My God!
It's right.
Wow.
It's directly across the street from that. So that's where you went. So we talked about mentorship. Of course, I don't know how LA is, but Houston is pretty bad overall. As far as people following directions to stay out and stay away from big groups. So, how has COVID-19 affected acting, in general?
I mean, it stopped everything. It stopped everything. We're still auditioning, but all of the dates are like to be determined. Like no one knows when it's going to start. I actually had a project that was supposed to start in August, back in like May. I got it, and it was supposed to start in August, but now we don't know. And like I said, we've been on lockdown since March, so I feel like they've definitely tried to do their best, but LA is a big city, man, and it's hard to keep these people in line. I don't know, but hopefully things will pick back up. I've heard so many things. I've heard January, I've heard September, so it has stopped things. I will say, though, there are a lot of people who are kind of figuring out how to do this, but scripted. So I think next summer, next spring, you're going to see a lot of shows based off of like Zoom and Skype. It's kind of interesting. So we'll see if people like it.
Yeah, I watch the Practical Jokers, and they're kind of this is how they're kind of doing their shows now.
It's the future.
Because all of them kind of sitting at the house and they're talking to each other about whatever, but it's not the same. But we shall see how it goes.
Yeah. Do you still like the show in that kind of format?
They don't really. I think they kind of every now and then they're kind of doing like flashbacks and then talking
Mm-hmm.
about it. So most of it I've seen, and
Yeah,
I can still laugh at it. So
that's good.
it is
They're
it
trying.
is
Trust
what it
me.
is.
If any industry is trying to get back to work, it's entertainment. Trust me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there is. Um, my mother just asked uh, prior to being a talk show host one day, she was so poised and yeah, talk show host.
Oh, if you promise to watch, we'll do this. It'll be called Cousins, right?
Yeah, we
And
can
then,
do that. First cousin.
do you?
First
I'm
cousin.
curious. You answer first.
Oh, absolutely not. I I do this because I actually got on this idea for about a year, last July actually, and just kind of putting all my stuff together for as training and putting the business together. And I was like, what aspect can I use with technology? And then this just kind of popped into my head. I've seen other shows that do this. That a guy named Jim Hicks, he does a show called The Chop Shop.
Mm.
He kind of has the same format, him
Yeah.
and another host. But talking is just it's really not for me, man. But so for me to get out here and do this is really different. I'm getting used to it more and
Yeah.
more. But to be a talk show host, like you said, I don't want to. I don't want to be on set for 10 hours or whatever you call it. That's a
Well,
long
I mean, they pay you
time.
for it, so
I
you
don't
know.
know. I'm a behind the scenes guy. I'm a basketball guy. That's what I am. That's what I'm good at. So I don't know. Uh, let me never say never. I guess you can say so.
Exactly. I mean, you training right now for it. You never know. The opportunity
Yeah,
comes, you be ready.
we shall see.
I feel like for me, I look forward to being on them as a guest, but even doing hosting is a whole different thing. I don't think people realize like most hosts get up at 4 in the morning so they can be there, and you have to you do 2 shows a day and you have audience come in. It's an actual different I guess kind of medium of not acting, but hosting. So for me, I kind of like, in an odd way, even though acting's in front of the camera, it's still a really intimate thing. I'm really working with 1 or 2 other people, and yes, a bunch of people are watching, but in that moment, it's just here. So then doing a talk show, it's like live theater in a way again, and that intimidates me. But like you said, never say never.
It's you kind of gotta. I don't really like showing my true personality to those people that know me. I'm very silly overall, but
You gotta let
being
it
on
out.
camera, man, I don't know. One day I might just let it all out.
Yes.
We
Yes.
shall see. But I've been at this for 36 years. It ain't happened yet. So.
You're young. We're young. Wait, oh my gosh. She's like, I'm almost 40, 36. Okay, well.
Yeah, man, I'm on the downside of this thing.
Oh no. It started. Uh-oh. I see someone
the
I know.
mother, yes, her mother is in here. So she says
Yes.
we know that pressure bursts pipes, but pressure always makes diamonds. So I guess
Yes,
like the Eagle always says that. So
see, I didn't remember that one. He's got so many good ones, I didn't remember that one.
okay, it is silly, but he definitely has a lot of knowledge to share. But
Yeah,
he's very silly, man. So, and my dad said probably also.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they coming back to back. Um, living in LA. Earlier this year we had one of the greats pass away in a tragic accident with his family, Kobe Bryant. Uh, how was the city's mood and tone, and could you tell it was different? How is it now? Still.
Well, it was so wild. Like surreal is just the only word I can think of. It's one of those. It's interesting because I remember where I was when Michael Jackson died. I remember where I was when Houston died, and I remember where I was when Kobe Bryant. We were in Panera, and I heard Chris just kind of like almost be like, "Whoa!" And I was like, "What?" I didn't know if it was good or bad. And he showed me his phone, and I was stunned. I was shocked into stillness. And it was before everything was locked down, so people were still walking around, and you could the energy in the air changed. Like people were in mourning and just disbelief. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I guess if there's any happiness out of it, is that they were able to celebrate him and Gianna and everyone who passed in the big way, because they wouldn't have been able to do that now in the same way. And like, I don't know if you know, but on my dad's side, I lost my grandfather over the holidays last Christmas. And so I was coming off of that. And then to be in a city where there's this collective mourning. And I promise I haven't seen so many men openly cry on the streets in my life. It was crazy, but it was beautiful. Like, it was like you could tell how much he impacted and influenced everyone, of course, but specifically LA. You know, like LA mourned for this loss, and it still doesn't feel real. But because 2020 has been so crazy, it's almost like you don't have time to like mourn because it just keeps hitting you back to back. But it was surreal. That's the only way I can really say it. It definitely felt like a piece of LA, you know, kind of died too, for real.
Did you get a chance to go down to the Staples Center, or you stayed away from it?
We couldn't even get down there. I mean, it was blocked up for miles. Like, that area is already very congested, but they were shutting down freeways because you literally couldn't get there. I guess we could have, like, you know, tried to take the trains, but I heard even that was like crazy. But every city kind of had their own thing. So you have your mural and people would go there and, you know, be together. So it was all over LA. Yeah. Crazy.
I get it. I still, like you said, 2020 has kind of been so crazy. You can't even think about that. And that happened at the very beginning. That happened in January. And so here we are 7 months later, and it's kind of getting worse and worse. I guess the only thing I could say, there's been no hurricanes.
Which is that is a good thing for y'all. It's for here, it's fire season now. That's something I've had to get used to, is earthquakes and fires. It's wild because, like, at least a hurricane, most times they tell you when, you know, it's coming, you can see the weather's bad. Earthquakes just happen. It could happen right now, you know. It's crazy.
So acting is your thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if being a talk show host is going to happen.
We don't know yet.
We're gonna cross our fingers for that. And so, what changes in acting, in the business of acting, would you like to see? Overall?
Ooh.
Yeah, I threw that one out there.
Oh, that's so many things. And they are happening because people are, you know, I call it like this great racial awakening for some people. So people are realizing that we're different now. And I've had those horror stories too, being on set and like people not knowing what to do with my hair and my makeup. I've had some shows early in my career where they gave me money and was like, go buy your makeup and then come back. And it's disheartening because you're the only person who has to do that. And then you got to show up and act and be confident when someone's just told you that who you are, they don't know how to handle. You know what I mean? It's a mind trip. So I want things like that to change. I want more people of color behind the scenes. This Is Us. Like I said, I've been doing this 10 years, and it wasn't until I think my 4th episode of This Is Us that I had my first female director ever in my career. And to me, when I realized that, I was like, wow, that's wild. And she was amazing. And it was so cool to be able to talk to someone who understood me, you know, woman to woman. And so I hope more of that happens. I'm personally creating work right now. You know, I hope to continue telling more stories for girls like me, for my community. And I hope the opportunity is there when we're really ready to tell those stories, because sometimes, you know, they haven't been. People haven't put a green light on our projects, but I do believe people are listening, whether they genuinely want to right now or they have to, but they're listening. So, yeah.
I would definitely like to, see more of that myself. Excuse me.
Yeah, what would you like to see more of?
Diversity in movies, I guess you can say. Netflix just came out with a new movie called Fatal Attraction or something like that. I think Omar Epps is in it, and Neil. I want to say that's like the 4th or 5th movie that's kind of like that, and it's like, come on, man! Like I haven't watched it. I probably won't watch it. But I can see, and I've seen the the highlights and the previews of it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they did a movie like that not too long ago. So I would like to see different ideas and writing. I guess they need new writers out there.
Well, I don't know everything about that film, but specifically, I mean, even if you don't watch it, I do say put it on the background because Nia Long produced it. And that's roles that we as Black people, specifically Black women, don't often get. And so I don't know why she chose that film either. It does feel like we've done it already. I do think it's a huge thing that she has producer credit on it. And we have to show up for that so that she can get other projects too. So it's kind of like, yeah, we're not there yet, but steps, it's happening. But I agree. I think it's the same film. I do.
Yeah. So we'll get there one day. You never know. So you spoke on Nia Long, and there's a lineage of Black actresses out there. Nia Long, Halle Berry,
Viola.
Say that again.
Viola Davis.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll go there. So I'm gonna put it out there. Who is your favorite actress? Who does your style of acting kind of remind you
of? Oh. If I could be so bold to say that, let me say this. I'm going to put it out in the universe because I'm really believing in speaking things to the universe. Viola Davis is someone I greatly admire for many reasons. She's a beautiful, dark-skinned Black woman. Her career didn't, quote-unquote, pop until she was a little bit later, even though she had been doing theater. So there's a lot about her I admire. And she is going to be doing a Michelle Obama film. And so personally, I feel like they're going to need someone to play young Michelle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like I would love to do that. To me, it's like, who would I love to work with? Like, I would love to work with Viola Davis. I would love to work. Glenn Close is also one of my favorite actresses. She's a bit older, but, there's still time. And there's so many young actresses who are coming up who I just think are amazing. People may not even know their names quite yet. I don't even know all their names, but I see their work and I'm like, yes, I want to do that. I would love to work with Don Cheadle. I would love to work with Jeffrey Wright. But I don't know. I don't know who my acting style is. I feel like I won't know that for like 50 years.
Okay. I like that answer. So I have a debate with my friends all the time in this sports group about who is the best actor. And there's always three guys that comes up. Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks, and Denzel Washington. Okay. And so if you had to choose those three guys.
Those are my only three.
Those are only three. Those are the three that usually comes up.
Okay, that's interesting because they're so different. Like, I guess that's the point, right? They're so different. So who's the best?
Yeah.
Oh, Will. I mean, they're all great for different reasons. That's so hard. That's so hard. Ooh, I guess I would say in my gut, and this might change later, I guess I would say DiCaprio in the sense that he has given more variety. And so therefore there's more of a spectrum of his work to look at. I think Denzel is incredible. He's one of my icons. He hasn't always chosen projects that show all of what he can do. So in a sense, it's like we know what Denzel brings. And Tom, he's getting to the point where he kind of does similar things as well. But I think Leo is still showing up in different ways when he chooses to show up. But I don't know him as a person. I may not like him. I don't know. Who did you choose?
I always go with either Denzel or Tom Hanks, just depending on how I'm feeling that day. I've seen more of their movies, I guess you can say.
I see. I mean, they're legends. I get it. You
can't go wrong choosing either one of them. So
you really can't.
Whatever your preference is. So getting down towards the end of this, and you started from the bottom, basically, you're steadily rising, and we're the family is extremely proud of you for what you've done, and continue to move forward and don't let anything stop you. So, what's next for you?
Well, great question. No, I'm just kidding. Well, like I said, right now we're still auditioning. Hopefully more of everything. You know, I hope to be back on the show again. My role is recurring, which means that it's almost, it depends on where the storyline goes. And people don't know this, but there's a couple times throughout my past 3 years where I've shot episodes that didn't air, or they were going to take my storyline one way, but something else picked up. And This Is Us is one of those great shows that they kind of write with how the audience is feeling, which is cool because you feel like you're a part of it. But sometimes things get cut. And the first time that happened to me, I was gutted. I was like, what? So no one will ever see it, but I think it was good. So hopefully more of that show. Like I said, we're doing a podcast, Stream the Quarantine. That's been fun. My acting school, we're now doing Zoom classes. We used to meet in person, but of course we can't. So we're doing Zoom classes. I'm actually working on, I almost don't want to jinx myself, but I'm working on getting into grad school because I'm very curious to learn more in the academic realm. So I feel like I've got a lot going on right now, but you can always find me at Joy Brunson right there.
Yeah, it's on the screen. Put it out there, man. Put it out there. For anybody that's still left, if you got any questions, now's the time. Somebody just popped up another comment. Let's see what it says. Don't know who this is. Miss BJ out of Houston, Texas says, congratulations, Joy. So I assume that you know who that is. I don't know who that is, but
but
thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in.
Okay. And, yes, of course. Thank you so much. This is so cool. I've never done anything like that. You can see like instantly, huh?
That's yeah. It's my boy Cliff. He does something like this as well. He kind of helped me kind of figure out the steps and stuff like that. So I'm still playing with it. Yeah, he said the Greenfield days. So way Greenfield days. So if you have anything else you would like to say, for the people that tuned in and stuff like that.
Well, I just want to thank you for inviting me on this show. Like, it means a lot to me to be able to, like I said, you are one of my favorite cousins. And I just remember when I was shipped back and forth during the summers. That's how I call it. And I got to spend time with you. Like, you were always the coolest. And so this is a very cool full circle moment for me to be on your show. Terrell, should we answer that?
Yeah, go for it. That's my boy. That's
embarrassing or funniest on-set moment? I think I just keep going back to This Is Us because that's the one that's most fresh in my brain, but there are other fun moments in other shows. But really, like, that cast is just fun. It's one of those times where, like, what you see is what you get from those people. They love each other. There's always dance parties happening, again, because you're there for 12 hours. And sometimes, unfortunately, you go on sets and it's not like that. You show up, you do your job, you go home. No one's really that friendly, and it's nothing wrong. It's just that's how the culture of that set is. But This Is Us Sterling's always making jokes. I don't know about embarrassing. I don't get embarrassed that easily though either, because I'm crazy too. I'm like, whatever, I'm sure I've tripped over a wire or something. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. My dad said that's my brother famous.
Oh, hey! Oh my gosh! Yeah. Wow! I hope to come home soon too. I'll come back to Houston soon, but I don't know. We'll see.
You leave Texas, go back to California. You got to quarantine, what y'all doing anyways. But so
exactly.
It doesn't really matter. Like I said, we're proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm older than you by a couple of years. You barely made it to the 80s, baby. But
I made it. I'm in there.
We'll give you that, man. And continue to, work hard and put God first and stuff like that. So
absolutely,
it's been a pleasure. For those that still watching, go over to YouTube and Facebook and subscribe to Between the Games Sports.
Share, subscribe.
All that. Go over to Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and find Joy Brunson. She's on there and follow her throughout her career. So with that, we're out.
All right. Thank you.